Today is November 22nd, and it's day number 47 since the massacre on October 7th happened and began the war between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. Let's take a first-hand look into Israeli Hebrew newspapers, and we will read the headlines together. Haaretz says that the government has gotten together to approve the release of 50 hostages, children and women that were kidnapped on October 7th by Hamas into Gaza. Israel Hayom has a similar headline about the hostage deal. Iska b'mivchan is a deal under examination. The government was talking last night, about the deal of releasing the hostages in exchange of ceasefire that may bring challenges to the military goal continuing to fight in Gaza. And Yediot Achronot says, Belev ro'ed, with a trembling heart. And we see here the photos of the children and mothers that are held in captivity by Hamas, Israeli children and mothers, and they are intended to be released. It says the hope to save the children and their mothers and the danger in ceasefire when the IDF troops are deep inside Gaza, and the pain of the families that are being left behind where their family members are not being released yet. I'm going to open it, and there are some opinions here. One of them says that this is not a deal, this is a forced deal, that a deal with terror is actually a blackmail. This opinion article is about, it says, Hachlata mitchayevet u'mutzdeket. It is a necessary decision, and it is a right one, because we will not leave a 10-month-old baby, Bibil, and will not leave a 3-year-old daughter that saw her parents murdered and ran to her neighbors, and she was kidnapped together with the neighbors into Gaza. He said, what can we say? Will we just leave them in Gaza? This is about the deal itself, and it explains the commitments of Hamas to release 50 hostages, specifically children and mothers. And also Israel will put pressure to release 20 to 30 more hostages. Hamas will return them with beats of 12 people each day. And Hamas is committed to allow the Red Cross to check the rest of the hostages. There are still 156 in captivity after these 50 will be released. 50 plus 20 to 30 more. Now, what does Israel do in exchange? A ceasefire of 4 days, ceasefire and fighting, and also the release of 150 prisoners from the Israeli jails, women and minors only, not murderers. Israel is also committed to allow humanitarian aid and fuel to come to the Gaza Strip. And Israel is supposed to avoid, or will avoid, aerial activity. That means less explosions in Gaza for 6 hours every day. Okay? I'm going to turn the page here, and we see this is an article that reads, Meyachlim libsora, longing or yearning for good news about the families that their loved ones will still be left in Gaza after the hostages are released in this specific deal. Some of them understand, are very happy for the other families. Others are more concerned that it's not all together in one bunch. There are cracks in hope, it says. Here, Israel b'milchama, Israel is preparing for ceasefire, and they say we will do ceasefire, but if we identify any threat, we will attack it immediately. And the IDF is still working hard on maybe you can say convincing the 5% residents that are left in the northern part of the Gaza Strip to move down south. It is too dangerous in the north. Here's a daily segment of the hostages, and we see Doron in the photo. She's kidnapped. She's 30 years old. We see her parents here holding her photo with her siblings. We can just feel the pain and sadness. Mif'al ha'hagana l'Israel, Israel Defense Factory, and it's about Rafael. Rafael is a factory that has been developing for years defense systems and missiles that help Israel protect herself. And we see here a number of 6 specific ones that they're allowing us to see. In the newspaper, the most common one or well-known one is Kipat Barzel. Iron Dome, and the workers have been working nonstop since October 7th. It is 24/7. And one of the workers says, the work is before everything today. We do not ask questions, and we stay at work and work as much as we need. We are also in the front line. International news. Sfarad, which means Spain, has appointed Sara Tomechet Hamas, a female minister supporting Hamas. She supported the massacre that Hamas did on October 7th, and she's appointed as the Minister of Children and Youth. Interesting that in the massacre, Hamas took children and kidnapped them and killed them and murdered them, children and youth, and here she is, a minister in Spain for the children and youth of Spain. Germany is fighting anti-Semitism and is dealing harshly with those that are speaking boldly about anti-Semitism, anti-Israeli, and they're threatening Jews. Germany is not tolerating it anymore. And to end on a positive note, here in the magazine, The Marker, we read Otzma Israelit, Israel's strength. And there are so many volunteer projects and initiatives since day one, since October 7th, because there are so many needs since the war has begun. We see here vigils and prayers for the hostages, and we see help in the agriculture. So much help needs to be in the agriculture down in the south, especially because so many have been evacuated and then there needs to be working hands. We see her long lines in the hospital donating blood for the ones that have been injured in the Israeli army. And notes for the Israeli soldiers in Gaza and in the north. They're stuck together with homemade cakes or cookies to give them a little taste of home. They haven't been home for so long. And a lot of equipment and electronics for the soldiers and the reserves and families that are left home with their husbands or fathers in the front lines. So many needs out there, and Israel is full of volunteers, a great volunteer spirit. So these have been the headlines in the main newspaper. We're expecting tomorrow to be big news about the hostages. We will wait and see. And for more stories, please go to All Israel News and follow us on social media and YouTube. You can subscribe to our channel and share these stories out there with your friends and families so that they can know what is happening here in Israel. This is Rotem Magen for All Israel News.